is your host, Bishop Gregory.
Welcome to the new socialist communist states of America, where resistance is futile. Now, I'd like you to meet my team of demon rats. Number 1, Adam Schiff. Number 2, Alexandroid, occasional cortex. Number 3, Camel Face Harris. Number 4, Bolshevik Bernard. Number 5, Diane Feinstein. Number 6, Elijah is coming. Number 7, Eric Stigma. Number 8, Jabba the Rattler. Number 9, Jihadi Omar. Number 10, Kirsten Gillibrand. Number 11, Merritt Maxine Waters. Number 12, Maisie Horrendous. Number 13, Nancy Botox Fignosi. Number 14, Pocahontas Warren. Number 15, Ratchet Mother Effer. Number 16, Sheila Jackass Lee. And number 17, Upchuck Schmuck.
Good evening, I'm Bishop Gregory, and welcome to this evening's edition of the God's Word News Service Bishop's Report. And tonight's report is titled, Our Constitutional Republic is on the Edge of Extinction. And this is part 1. You know, it's often been said that nature abhors a vacuum. And right now, that seems to be what we are in at the moment, a real spiritual vacuum. And when one decides to turn their back on God and turn their back on decent moral values and ethics, the vacuum has to be filled by something. And it seems that America has decided to fill the vacuum with immorality, unethical actions, and we're all trying to put ourselves as God. And I have news that that's not going to work. The end of the United States will come about not with a bang, but with a whimper as it commits national suicide, as millions of American citizens elect totally ignorant and brain-dead morons to the halls of Congress, both the House and the Senate. People like Mad Maxine Waters, who lacks any sense of a moral compass, as do all the leftists. Waters recently went on Chris Hayes' MSNBC program and not only reiterated her promise to stop President Trump's emergency declaration, but also went on to say, quote, I've been talking about impeachment for a long time. I'm absolutely stunned and amazed that the American people have taken so much off of this president. This president has lied. I think it's been documented 8,000 times. In the last 2 years, this president has committed obstruction of justice right before our very eyes. And if we could ever get Manafort to tell the truth, then we will find they conspired to get Trump elected so sanctions could be lifted off of Russia, end of quote. Her regular bag of BS and verbal diarrhea is totally and absolutely without evidence. The United States is being turned upside down and inside out. As the majority of citizens seem to defy all common sense and logic. For instance, why are more than 70,000 Americans a year dying of drug overdoses? Why is it that every single Democrat candidate for the office of president is pushing far left socialist communist programs that are being backed up by our news and entertainment media, policies that sound like they were right out of countries like China, Cuba, North Korea, and Venezuela? Why is it that we are all of a sudden electing a large number of anti-Semitic Muslims to represent us in Congress, knowing full well that Muslims have no respect for our Constitution and wish to replace it with Sharia law? Why is it that our government is allowing millions of illegal aliens to stampede across our border and then bestow upon them free medical, free education, free food, etc., all at the expense of American taxpayers, while the leftists declare any sort of border barrier to be immoral? Our government will build border walls and barriers for foreign countries, but refuse to defend our borders. We have become the only nation in the world that will literally provide huge enticements to every Tom, Dick, and Harry to kick down our doors and then demand that we care for them and provide them with a living. As many of them rape and sexually molest our children, our women, and or murder our citizens by shooting them or killing them with cars. Why is it that our local and national politicians allow illegals to obtain driver's licenses and even allow them to register to vote, a right granted solely to citizens of the United States? Why do we allow local and state governments to enact sanctuary policies which protect illegals from deportation? Would anyone in their right mind have allowed a fraud, unconstitutional president to be elected and then destroy the very best healthcare system on earth by accepting and passing Obamacare? The damage is now well past the point of repair by any political means. And the worst part is that we did this to ourselves because we sat on our collective butts while the smarter than average Democrat elites played us like fine violin. because they used Obamacare as a lure to obtain the votes of millions of Americans who have been deceived by free government handouts. How is it that a giving and loving nation like the United States allowed the Supreme Court to declare the murder of the innocent unborn in the womb to be constitutional, and then allowed the state of New York, Virginia, and several other states to enact abortion laws that are nothing more than outright infanticide, allowing babies to be killed even after they are born? What if the next step is the legalization of euthanasia to kill off our senior citizens or those who may be considered useless to society? We have made so many huge mistakes by allowing our government to overstep their bounds by violating the enumerated powers listed in the Constitution. So what do I mean by this? Well, there is no right granted by we the people in the Constitution for the federal government to establish a Department of Education, the DOED, when education is a state responsibility. Why do we turn a blind eye to the fact that the Department of Education has nationalized the education of America's children that has turned into nothing more than pure leftist brainwashing? There is no federal right granted by we the people in the Constitution for the federal government to have established the Environmental Protection Agency, an unelected group that has passed so many rules, laws, and statutes that have actually repealed the Fifth Amendment, rendering property ownership a right in name only. And the American property owner has now become an indentured slave to an out-of-control government and violent environmentalists. And their demands are growing more insane by the day. For instance, one of the most clueless dimwits ever elected to Congress, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, has submitted a plan to have every building, every home in the United States either replaced or refitted to make them more environmentally friendly. And every cow eliminated because she says their farts are producing far too much methane. We the people have stood by as our standards of decency and morality descended into the sewer. We have turned our backs on the fact that our society has become debauched, and cussing, violence, and gratuitous sex, including homosexual acts on television and the silver screen, are now commonplace. We have allowed our top law enforcement agencies, the DOJ, the FBI, to set up a two-tiered justice system where they can frame the innocent and exonerate the guilty, allowing them to stage a silent coup to overthrow a duly elected president by opening a fraudulent investigation against him in the hopes of finding a crime or by creating one, while at the same time turning a blind eye to the actual crimes committed by Hillary Clinton, who lied to Congress big time and destroyed evidence that was under a congressional subpoena? And how about the crimes committed by Huma Abedin, who has close ties to the Muslim Brotherhood and is the ex-wife of a sex pervert, Anthony Weiner, and was a close advisor to Hillary Clinton when she was Secretary of State, who also lied to Congress? And why is it that FBI SWAT teams haven't stormed their homes like they did to Roger Stone, whose only crime was committing a so-called process crime by lying to the FBI? Why do we allow the FBI and Congress to make it a crime to lie to them, but it is not a crime for them to lie to us? The very people they work for and who pay their salary. The very real criminals are working in our government, and legal accountability is non-existent. None of the festering ethical, moral, and spiritual woes and problems facing our nation today happened in a vacuum. We were fed an endless stream of out-and-out lies that we swallowed with gusto, hook, line, and sinker. For example, let's go back to the 1960s. Concerning abortion, a small number of radical leftist activists unleashed unprecedented campaigns with the twofold purpose of capturing the news media's attention to influence public opinion, and then drastically change America's abortion laws. They managed to gain rapid and total success, with the end result being legalized abortion, or murder of the unborn. In all 50 states. And as the left-leaning U.S. Supreme Court at the time declared that women had the constitutional right to have an abortion under the constitutional right to privacy. The big lie was that those pushing for legalization of abortion promised over and over again that abortions would only be done in the case that the mother's life would be endangered if she were to go ahead and have the baby, or in the cases of rape or incest, and only in the first trimester. Abortion was no sooner legalized when the push was on to legalize abortion for whatever reason under the guise of a woman's right of choice. The issue of morality of murdering the unborn was tossed right out the window and quickly morphed into freedom of choice. To legally murder the baby at any time during the pregnancy, including right up to the moment of birth and even moments after the birth of the infant. Repeating big lies often enough will cause the public to become convinced that the lie is the truth, with New York State instantly becoming the abortion capital for the entire eastern half of the United States. And as God wept, the lies continued. Thank you for joining me this evening for part one of our constitutional republic on the edge of extinction. Please watch for part two, which will be posted soon. In the meantime, God bless. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. And good night.